Welcome. My name is Isaac Salas. The following is a presentation on my final project for Principles of Mobile App Development. So I currently work at Caesar Graphics, which is a print shop, and while we offer a variety of different services ranging from graphic design to printing, clothing, and so forth, I work in the sign department, and one of the things that we frequently do is graphic installations, which could be in storefronts or vehicle graphics. But typically there's always something being installed every week. And so my motivation for this app was to make an app that would store all of the different jobs in a database and allow users to access the jobs and their information, as well as update status and get different information depending on the install. For example, the client, the one that places an order for their business, they might want to access the app in order to get a status on how far along an install is, you know. A graphic designer, they could use the app in order to add jobs into the database and also to update different information on the job. And then the installer will use the app in order to access the different jobs they have to do. And then the app will also provide them with the location as well as directions and the weather for that. The weather in that area of that installation. And so my class diagram, as you can see, I have about 4 view controllers. And the first view controller, the home view controller, is going to be the login screen. Now I'll show you really quick on my UI here. I have the home page, the active jobs, the job details, and more details is really the it goes a little bit more in depth on that particular job. And so the home view controller, it's gonna consist of a verify function, which will take a user ID and a user password, and depending on this information, whether it matches up or not, they'll be able to log into the app. Now also depending on the information, they might have different capabilities, like the client, they cannot they won't be able to update the app so that it notifies they won't be able to update the controller so that it shows a job is completed. Only the installer can do that. And the graphic designer and the installers, they're basically they have the most power in the app, while the client, they can really only view data. They can't really manipulate it. Furthermore, a user, they will have a user ID, user password, and a user image. The image is optional. However, the user ID and password must always, it's always got to be used. Now, once you're done at the login screen and you're logged in, you go to the active jobs controller, which will be this one here. Now, this is going to be a table view controller, which will have a table view of CesargraphicsJobs. Now, a Caesargraphics job will have a job name, an order date, a due date, a customer name, and a customer phone number. And these are all being stored in core data. Now, once you click on a job, you'll be able to go into the active job detail view controller, which will then, as you can see here, give you all of the information that you need as far as the Caesar Graphics job goes. All of this here. And it will also give you it will give you access to 2 more options. You could go to the site details, which will push you over to the next screen, or you could click Job Ready. Now, Job Ready will only be available to a graphic designer or an installer, not to a client. However, this is what's used when you want to basically say that a job is ready, it's been installed, and that way it could update across the database. Now, if you do happen to go to Site Details, you'll be pushed over to the Site Detail View Controller. Sorry about that. You'll be pushed over to the Site Detail View Controller, and this will have the map view as well as a weather view. And this weather class is how this is where the API calls are stored. And so the weather will be called for depending on the city, depending on the latitude and longitude of the job location. Now, for this app, I also used Model View Controller architecture. And so in my model, I was using core data, and I also stored the CesargraphicsJobs. Now, the model, whenever it has any data change and so forth, it'll notify the controller so that the controller can actually do the data manipulation, and then the controller itself will update the model so that everything is congruent and up to date. Now, notifications sent from the model can consist of job updates, whether it's the details of the job or additional jobs themselves, deleting jobs. Also, the controller, once it has updated the model, it'll save the new information, the new job information. It'll submit the job location, the job estimated time of completion, and if there's any comments that are submitted, it will also go ahead and do that. Now, the view is what actually shows, it's actually what the user will see. It only reacts to interactions, and it will display the list of jobs, job information, location, weather forecast, and so forth. And so whenever a user actually interacts with the app, this is what notifies the controller. And then depending on what is being done, what button is tapped, or whether it wants to delete or retrieve information and so forth, then the controller will update the view. It'll update the table view or the detail view depending on where the user is. So some of the capabilities that my app has is the ability to store jobs and their information, as well as provide the location of the installation, and it provides the installer with weather information. Some of the limitations my app has is that there is no cloud storage, therefore the data can't be updated across multiple users. It really only stays in the same user in the same iPhone, really. And it also lacks communicative options. And what I mean is there's no way to directly message, say the users want to directly message each other, like a client wants to message a graphic designer to see where the job is, as far as where it is in its process. Or maybe the client wants to contact the installer to let them know something's come up and maybe they're not available for the install. Some of the lessons learned for this project were core data implementation and how to use it, with my table view, with my model view architecture. Also map kit implementation. I had to learn how to really use the map kit and get different information depending on whether it's from longitude or latitude that I'm able to get locations, or from the, just depending on the different security settings you might have. Also, API implementation. So I had to learn a lot about JSON calls and how to interpret the data so that Swift can use it and display everything correctly. UI design importance. I realized that the design of the UI can be really a make or break thing for your app. Nobody wants a lousy app that's really unintuitive and kind of a pain in the butt to use. You're not sure where everything's at. You're not sure why everything is where. And so I think the UI design really, it really is important for all apps. And also software engineering. I learned that it's important to plan out your application. It's not all about just coding everything from the get-go. Like, it's important to kind of know what it is that you're going to be using and get your project management in order, as well as being up to date with all of your requirements. And so I wanted to walk through the UI with you guys. What I have here is the home page of the app, which is when the app is initially launched. The user can log in using their email and password, and if they are verified, they'll be able to access all of our active jobs. Now this would be a table view consisting of all of the CesargraphicsJobs, and from this screen you can either log out and be taken back to the home page, or you can add a new job. Now if you happen to add a new job, you'll go over to the add a job page, and you can add the job name, the job type, the business name, order date, due date, all of the different information you might need. And once the job is clicked on, then in the job details view, you'll be able to see the job name, as well as when the date was the day that the job was ordered, when it has to be installed by, the name of the customer, and a phone number in case they want to be reached on the spot. Now from here we have two different buttons. There's the site details button, which will push you over to the more details view, or we have the job ready button. And the job ready button will allow you to take a picture in order for the installer to take a picture of the install they just finished, and it will upload a picture as well as change the job status to ready. Now if you do go to the site details view, you'll be over here able to see the location of your job site, and as well as a 10-day weather forecast in case you want to plan out your installation for the week. And also the installer can upload a photo once the job is ready, similar to what the job ready button would do over here.